Good morning from the New York Bureau, kids. Happy Juneteenth.
That's right. Happy Juneteenth to you, sir. I love when people come at you on the Bible on Twitter because it's just my favorite. I make more popcorn. I'm like, oh, good. Someone asked you, what would you know about Jesus? And you said only what's in the New Testament. Respectfully, are you suggesting there's a Christ-based justification for LGBT discrimination? Can you please cite a single gospel teaching that Trump and the modern GOP have fought for legislatively? You seem like a nice Christian guy. Did you hear from that guy again?
No, never heard from that guy. But yeah, that's the truth. The only way you can follow both Trump and Jesus is if you've never read either of their books. Because the only thing Trump and Jesus have in common is they both hung out with hookers and they both used ghostwriters. And that's it. There is that's my whole problem with this whole case with the adoptions in the Supreme Court yesterday. Yeah. Like they'll all say, well, the religious exemption because they're gay couples. Well, where does Jesus chase the gay wedding cakes out of the temple? No, homophobia is the opposite of what Jesus did. Find a new name for your religion. I call them grabbed by the evangelicals, but whatever works for you guys.
You made the point on Twitter, that's a very old bit of mine, where I said homosexuality exists in every species, homophobia only in ours. Only in one species, right? I don't think bulls stand around going, look at Philippe, what a femme, let's gore him. That's an old joke from my act in the 80s. Yeah. Okay. But you said homophobia is an insult to what Jesus taught. Any Christian organization that tries to discriminate against LGBTQ people should show where Christ commands such bigotry. And by the way, nobody actually obeys Leviticus. But hey, good to know the Catholic Church cares so deeply about protecting kids. I wasn't sure what you meant about that, Tom. That was subtle, but yeah.
Let me get this straight, Father. If I touch my wee-wee, it's a mortal sin and I go to hell. But if you touch my wee-wee, it's a tragic mistake and you just go to a new parish. I get it now. That's how it works. It's not a good time for the racists out there. It's not a good time for the right-wing people. Look what we're looking at right now. I mean, Trump's Facebook account is gone for another 2 years. His condo values are dropping like, Matt Gaetz' Venmo profile. He's being criminally indicted. Mike Lindell's indicted. Netanyahu's fired. Louis DeJoy's under investigation. Don McGahn testified and confirmed the Mueller report was true. You got DeJoy investigated, Gates investigated, Giuliani investigated, Trump investigation. And by the way, 79% of West Virginia supports the For the People Act mansion. So who are you representing exactly? I just can't wait, Steph, for the children of racists to become teens and rebel against their parents by experimenting with critical race theory at college parties. That's going to be a good time.
Yeah. I sent that tweet of yours to Frangela, and they laughed and laughed.
Tired of these racists.
Yeah. We had Ted Boutros tweeted, you retweeted, Donald Trump's Helsinki summit with Vladimir Putin was the most humiliating and embarrassing day any president of the United States has ever suffered on the world stage. And you said when vomiting on the Japanese prime minister only ranks number 2, thanks to Trump groveling before Putin. That is straight forgotten in the wake of Biden's really, I think, historically successful overseas trip. I mean, you just forgot. You're like, oh, my God, the bar was so low. Mm-hmm. Just not being cringeworthy, like mortified every single second of the day. I was saying it was a new emotion. Who else was saying that? Oh, Dr. Doom yesterday. Mm-hmm. It was a new emotion to actually be really proud of an American president, not just flinching every second and mortified, but actually proud.
Oh, it's this new emotion to wake up in the morning and not grab your phone right away and wonder with dread what racist or misspelled thing our president just tweeted. I mean, we're getting used to a lot of new emotions out here, but yeah. It's really nice to see Vladimir Putin meeting with the president whose debt he doesn't own via Deutsche Bank, knowing Joe Biden wasn't going to demand the translator tear up the notes of their meeting. Look, it was great. I mean, and Biden comes home now to, Joe Manchin being the real president of our country. Yeah. But once again, it's like America is being respected again on the international stage, and these so-called patriots can't stand it. The same patriots who refuse to shake the hands of cops who saved their lives in the Capitol elevator, those patriots. Yeah. I'm so ready for the media to just drop this narrative that the right wing is automatically the patriots, the right wing is automatically the Christians. They're neither one of these things. Their behavior during COVID proved it. They're not pro-life. They're not patriots. We can't hate them. We got to beat them. And that's why next year is going to be the next most important election of our entire lives. Even more important than the last three most important elections.
Well, because yes, it could be the last one, actually. Oh, speaking of misspelled hate tweets, somebody tweeted you, in this country, a man is innocent until proven otherwise. Liberal Dems no Doby, that's the spelling, Nodoby, has proof POTUS hasn't did anything illegal. Oh, nice try, though. And you said sometimes those education cuts pay for themselves at the ballot box. Your modern GOP.
Yeah. He loves the poorly educated. We know it. We all know it. And that's why we know that using facts with our right-wing trolls won't work. Using facts and empathy, because they don't want to have a good-natured debate. They want to gaslight you. They want you to burn lean tissue fighting them. They're going to gish-gallop you with 10 lies. And while you're correcting the first one, they'll tell 10 more. Yeah. Don't get caught in these never-ending debates with trolls who have 12 followers, unless you can do it with devastating wit. That's my moment.
That's all right. So you brought up Manchin. Let's talk about give me cut 11. It just he went through this whole exercise again. He met with he said, I've got to compromise on voting. Remember, he did this on guns, right? Manchin Toomey's the only gun thing we can do. That didn't work. Here he is yesterday.
And I've been working across the aisle with all the Republicans trying to get people to understand that that's the bedrock of our democracy. An accessible, fair, and basically secured voting. That's it. To have, and right now in a divided country, this is not about me. It's about our country. People better start looking at how do we get to where we got to January 6th, and why don't we want to fix it?
And then in record time, Mitch McConnell said no. Mitch McConnell said no on Joe Manchin's compromise.
He gutted the voting rights bill, and Stacey Abrams endorsed him anyway. But President McConnell is really jealous that President Manchin might have more power than him in our government, and that's really the battle we're facing. It's cute that Joe Manchin's still talking about bipartisan. I guess, where was he during the Obama years? Was he just doing an eastbound and down binge watch during the Obama years? He knows they're not going to compromise. He knows they can't compromise. This is Joe Manchin promoting himself. West Virginia sent Jay Rockefeller to the Senate for many years. There's decent Democrats that they can vote for, that can challenge him. I mean, the only thing that's going to work now bribery won't work. We tried that. Biden gave his wife a job running the Appalachian Resource Council. We're now down to coercion. We have to blackmail Joe Manchin, but only for moral reasons. There's literally people's lives at stake here. Yeah. They don't take democracy seriously. They don't.
Here's Stacey Abrams yesterday.
Absolutely. What Senator Manchin is putting forward are some basic building blocks that we need to ensure that democracy is accessible no matter your geography. And those provisions that he is setting forth are strong ones that will create a level playing field, will create standards that do not vary from state to state, and I think will ensure that every American has improved access to the right to vote despite the onslaught of state legislation seeking to restrict access to the right to vote.
So immediately they went, eek, boogity, boogity, black. She got black on it. It's no good. Right? Roy Blunt said it out loud. Now it's the Stacey Abrams bill, so no, it's no good.
79% of West Virginia supports the For the People Act. 80% of West Virginia supports Biden's infrastructure jobs plan. So really, who's Joe Manchin representing by obstructing all this? Who is he serving in the Congress? I want to know where he's getting his money. I want to know where Sinema's getting her money as well. There's a Coke at the end of this rainbow.
Yes, that's exactly it. Look at the laboratories in the states. Julian Castro tweeted about Texas. Greg Abbott wants to spend $250 million of taxpayer money for a border wall around Texas. Meanwhile, he hasn't spent a dime to fix our power grid, as millions are at risk of blackouts and 100-degree heat. Terrible mistake, waste of taxpayer dollars. Right? This is all they do, Republicans. They file useless lawsuits against ACA, against trying to overturn the election. While we were saying, I guess it's nice in Texas, except when it's hot or when it's cold. Then that's no good, right?
The ACA lawsuits weren't useless. We made fun of them at the time, but they really served a purpose. They rallied the base. They sent out a consistent message. Yes, it was all based in lies and ignorance, but it kept people there. It kept the base from checking out after Bush torched the economy. I think that we need to take a page out of the Republicans' book, and I think we need to just start having votes in the Senate on the Voting Rights Act, on the infrastructure bill, and I mean like votes over and over again.
Yeah.
Make Manchin and Sinema be the only Democratic no votes 48 times. Do what the Republicans did. It rallied the base, but I've come to believe that shaming them is the only thing that'll work. Put it up for a vote, let it be defeated, put it up for another vote again. Do exactly what they did with Obamacare, and let Manchin and Sinema consistently be the two Democrats who can't give a good reason why they're keeping the filibuster alive. Put the filibuster up for a vote. Do it over and over and over again. And shame these two into finally acting like Democrats. Because I'll tell you this, if we do what they did with Obamacare, if we have 50 votes on getting rid of the filibuster, 50 votes on voting rights, and Manchin and Sinema are consistently the two villains, they'll get the message. They'll be shamed into decency. It could work. It really could if we have the will.
Well, and it sounds like from this week, John, that Manchin, that there's a sliver of hope there about the, thing, that compromise that Norm Ornstein and Al Franken have been talking about in terms of, what you referred to, filibuster reform. So but you're right. Keep the pressure on.
We thought that when Joe Biden said, let's do the Jimmy Stewart talking filibuster, that that's a third way that Biden had that was brilliant. Okay, don't get rid of it. Just make it that you have to get up there and actually physically talk. Right now, if you want to kill a bill, Marco Rubio sends an email and it's done. I say, no, boo-boo, Strom Thurmond this thing. Make these rat bastards get up there and actually orate for 48 hours straight to block Bernie Sanders is 100 years old. He can go for 7 hours. So can Sting. He's 100 too. So make these guys do it. Shame them all in public. Because again, people aren't paying attention except us news nerds. So let's give people a reason to lean in and see who's the obstructors and who's not.
Yeah, agreed. Your sexy liberalness is... You know what? I feel like the public needs to be exposed to it in person again soon.
What?
Well, we'll see.
What?
All right.
What? Hey,
John,
you're not allowed to say anything about anything.
Yeah,
John,
come
I
on
miss
now.
you. I miss you.
Don't
I
go
love
giving
you.
hope to the masses.
Yeah.
All right. Love you.
Not allowed.
See you next
Hey,
week.
I want to say one thing. The movie Grease turns 43 years old this week,
Yeah.
which means now it's old enough to play a teenager in the movie Grease.
Yes.
Thank you all.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
You're the one that I want, John. You've always been the one that I want. You're the one that I want. You are. You're the one that I want.
As long as you turn yourself into a slut for me, I will then respect you. That's the message that movie gave me.
The message that gives to little girls.
Tell me about it.
Stud.
Wear leather and act like a whore, and then men will like you.
That message gates around. Thank you.
Hey!
All right, goodbye. 47.
Thanks, John.
47.
I'm sorry. He's celebrating Juneteenth. See you later.
Bye. 47 minutes after.